Hello student, today we'll start class 6 English Unit 3 Taro's Reward. This is the story about a thoughtful and loving son. He works hard to fulfill his parents' wishes and get some unexpected help. Okay student, let's read together. A young woodcutter named Taro lived with his mother and father on a lonely hillside. All day long he chopped wood in the forest. Though he worked very hard, he earned very little money. This made him sad, for he was a thoughtful son and wanted to give his all parents everything they needed. A young woodcutter. Woodcutter means the one who cuts the wood into pieces is called woodcutter. His name was Taro. He was living with his parents. In his family, he has mother and father who were living on a lonely hillside. All day long he worked in the forest and he worked very hard. He earned very little money, which make him so sad because he is so thoughtful and good son. He always wanted to fulfill his parents' desire and whatever his parents needed. One evening, when Taro and his parents were sitting in a corner of their hut, a strong wind began to blow. It whistled through the cracks of the hut, and everyone felt very cold. Suddenly, Taro's father said, "I wish I had a cup of shake. It would warm me and do my all heart good." One evening, when Taro and his parents sitting in a corner of their hut. Hut means a single room house. Okay. A strong wind came and everyone felt very cold. Suddenly his father said he wants to drink a cup of shake. Shake means a Japanese alcohol drink made from rice. It warms the body and keeps mentally and physically good, especially for the old person. This made Taro sadder than ever, for the heartwarming drink called shake was very expensive. How do I get more money? He asked himself. How do I get a little shake for my poor old father? He decided to work harder than before. As soon as he heard these things made him so sad than ever. Since shake is very expensive, usually it is impossible for the poor people. They can't afford regularly. He asked himself, how do I earn money? How do I earn more money? How do I get a little shake for my parents, especially for his father? He started to think, and he could not sleep whole night and decided to work more and more. Next morning, Taro jumped out of bed earlier than usual and made his way to the forest. He chopped and cut as the sun climbed, and soon he was so warm that he had to take off his jacket. His mouth was dry and his face was wet with sweat. My poor old father, he thought, if only he was as warm as I. And with that he began to chop even faster, thinking of the extra money he must earn to buy the shake to warm the old man's bones. Next, early in the morning, he went to the forest. He cut the wood till sunrise. Later on, he felt so hot, and he took off his jacket. His mouth was very dry, and his face was also wet with sweat, and he was thinking about his father as well as doing his work to earn extra money so that he can buy the sack to run the old man's wants. Then suddenly Taro stopped chopping. What was that sound he heard? Could it possible be rushing water? Taro could not remember ever seeing or hearing a rushing stream in that part of the forest. He was thirsty, the axe dropped out of his hands, and he ran in the direction of the sound. He heard a sound that was like rushing water. He stopped chopping. He was working there since long back, but he never ever heard or seen a rushing stream in that part of the forest. Meanwhile, he was very thirsty. He ran in that direction of the sound. Taro saw a beautiful little waterfall hidden behind a rock. Kneeling at a place where the water flow quietly, he cupped a little in his hands and put it to his lips. Was it water or was it shake? He tasted it again and again, and always it was a delicious shake instead of cold water. He reached there. He saw a beautiful waterfall behind a rock. He started to fill his cup and drank. After drank, he confused was it water or shake? He tasted it twice. It was very delicious shake instead of cold water. Taro quickly filled the pitcher he had with him and hurried home. The old man was delighted with the shake. After After only one swallow of the liquid, he stopped shivering and did a little dance in the middle of the floor. He quickly filled the pitcher. Pitcher means a jug. Quickly filled the pitcher. Pitcher means a jug or a container, and went to home. His father was very happy with the shake. After a sip of the liquid, he stopped shivering and danced in the middle of the floor since he was very happy. That afternoon, a neighbor stopped by for a visit. Taro's father politely offered her a cup of the shake. The lady drank it greedily and thanked the old man. Then Taro told her the story of the magic waterfall, thanking them for the delicious drink. She left in a hurry. By nightfall, she had spread the story throughout the whole village. Taro's father offered a cup of shake to his neighbor, a lady. That lady drank it so greedily and thanked the old man. And Taro told her everything about that waterfall, that magic waterfall. She gone in hurry. By nightfall itself, she had spread the story throughout the whole village. That evening there was a long procession of visitors to the woodcutter's house. Each man heard the story of the waterfall and took a sip of the shake. In less than an hour the pitcher was empty. That evening itself there was a long queue to the woodcutter's house because everyone knew about the story of waterfall and everyone took a sip of the shake. And pitcher was empty. Next morning Taro started for work. Even earlier than the morning before, he carried with him the largest pitcher he owned, for he intended first of all to go to the waterfall. When he reached it, he found to his great surprise all his neighbors there. They were carrying pitchers, jars, buckets, anything they could find to hold the magic sack. Then one villager knelt and held his mouth under the water to drink. He drank again and again and then shouted angrily, "Water? Nothing but water." Others also tried, but there was no sake, only cold water. Next morning, Taro reached there even earlier than the morning before. He took a largest pitcher with him to fill the sack. When he reached there, he saw a large gathering. All were his neighbor. They were carrying pitcher, jars, buckets. Then one villager nailed his mouth under the water and started to drink, but he got angry as he drank and said, "This is just water, not sack." And others also tried, but there was no sack, only cold water. "We have been tricked," shouted the villagers. "Where is Taro? Let us drown him in this waterfall." But Taro had been wise enough to slip behind a rock. When he saw how things were going, he was nowhere to be found. Every villager, when got angry, said, "We have been tricked." They were started to search Taro. "Let us drown him in this waterfall." But Taro was listening all these things. He didn't come out from there, muttering their anger and disappointment. The villager left the place one by one. Taro came out from his hiding place. Was it true? He wondered. Was the sack a dream? Once more he caught a little liquid in his hand and put it to his lips. It was the same fine sack. To the thoughtful son, the magic waterfall gave the delicious shake. To everyone else, it gave only cold water. Then villagers left their place one by one, and he came out from there. He was also very wonder. He started to drink that water, whether it is water or cold water, whether it is sack or cold water. He drank a sip, but that was a shake, that same fine shake. That was magic waterfall gave him delicious shake, but for everyone it gave only cold water. The story of Taro and his magic waterfall reached the Emperor of Japan. He sent for the young woodcutter and rewarded him with 20 pieces of gold for having been so good and kind. Then he named the most beautiful fountain in the city after Taro. This, said the emperor, was to encourage all children to honor and obey their parents. And this story reached to Emperor of Japan. The king's saint rewarded him with 20 pieces of gold for having been so good and kind son. The emperor was to encourage all the children to honor and obey their parents. So moral of the story is honor your father and mothers and always be a thoughtful and kind-hearted person. Thank you.